एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः। शांति पाठ। ओम सहना भवतु
सहना
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
मा विद्विषावहै
मा विद्विषावहै।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
See, we are slowly entering into the deeper levels. So naturally, the demand will be for our more focused attention, extremely subtle attention, keeping the mind free of all its engagements, involvements that we are coming from. Normally, it is not supposed to be discussed where people are running and coming and arriving. It is supposed to be discussed in a hermitage setting where people are staying there and throughout the day they are contemplating on it. So we are taking the liberty of discussing it in such a sabha. So naturally, we have to be attentive as possible. Otherwise, we will not be able to grasp. I am trying to simplify matters and I am trying to relate whatever is given here as a meditational discovery. I am trying to relate it to an interactional sadhana, which is not generally done. That the same thing, when we are interacting with the world, it will give us very great benefit. But to do that, we have to understand. When, suppose in a meditational sadhana, the mind goes silent and everything is silent, what matters is, so the last day we had been discussing the sadhana with the illustration of the chariot, that what are the sadhana for the senses, what are the pursuits for the mind, what are the pursuits for the intelligence, and how the whole personality should become integrated with no internal friction, internal clash, so that whatever our innermost voice says, that we can carry out up to the interaction with the objective world, with the senses. And there the main criterion was to free our mind and intelligence of the raga dvesha, that is clinging to what we like and hating what we dislike. The world remains the same world. What changes is our mind. We interact with the same world with a mind freed of the raga dvesha, that clinging to what we like and hating what we dislike. Then the whole world becomes nectarine. As I said, Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhatravaihi upanad gudha padasya nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu. Last step bataya tha. Ki when the mind becomes full, when will it become full? Only when it will be freed of its abhava bodha, insufficiency. It will be freed of its fragmented vision with the raga dvesha. Then the mind remains always full. Then the whole world will become full with nectar, like covering the feet with shoes, so that wherever you walk, the dust and the filth do not touch your feet. It is just like that. We have to change our mind, nothing to do with the world. Now that ended with the what are the conditions of our personality so that we will reach the ultimate goal. What is that ultimate goal? Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. That Vishnu word means Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. Even Atma means Atati Vyapnoti iti Vishnu iti Atma. Atma also means all pervading. Vishnu also means all pervading. So these names are given to point to us that the Atma is not limited by our body mind personality. It is the all pervading Atma that is our real identity. And the whole purpose of spirituality is to discover that identity and remain anchored in that identity even when interacting with the world. So we will chant the few verses in the beginning. The last verse we did, we will chant that also. That is 1.3.9. 1.3.9. Vijnanasarathiryastu
Vijnanasaradhiryastu
Manah pragrahavan naraha
Manah pragrahavan naraha
Sodhvanah paramapnoti
Sodhvanah paramapnoti
Tad Vishnu paramam padam.
Tad Vishnu paramam padam.
We will go to the next verse, 1.3.10. Indriyebhyah parahyartha
Indriyebhyah parahyartha
Arthebhyascha param manah
Arthebhyascha param manah
Manasastu para buddhi
Manasastu para buddhihi
Buddheratma mahan paraha
Buddheratma mahan paraha
Indriyebhyah parahyartha
Indriyebhyah parahyartha
Arthebhyascha param manah
Arthebhyascha param manah
Manasastu para buddhi
Manasastu para buddhihi
Buddheratma mahan paraha.
Buddheratma mahan paraha
Next. Mahatah paramavyaktam
Mahadah paramavyaktam
Avyaktat purushah paraha
Avyaktat purushah paraha
Purushanna param kinchit
Purushanna param kinjit
Sakashtha sa paragatihi
Sa kashtha sa paragatihi
Mahatah paramavyaktam
Mahadah paramavyaktam
Avyaktat purushah paraha
Avyaktat purushah paraha
Purushanna param kinchit
Purushanna param kinjit
Sakashtha sa paragatihi.
Sa kashtha sa paragatihi.
See, these two verses together, they give us a sequence to be followed to discover our real self. Now, this sequence we have generally to follow in a meditative contemplative state. Now, all the practices are generally from birth. Our mind is always outgoing, always extrovert, and we are looking for whatever we like and trying to avoid whatever we dislike in the fragmented world. So, always the mind is cluttered with the fragmented vision of different colors, different sounds, different likes and dislikes, all kinds of objective sensations. Such a mind in spirituality has to be made inward and has to go inner and inner and inner till it discovers the soul. That is the ultimate point. Here they have referred to that point as sa kashtha sa paragatihi. Kashtha means actually in running, we put a mark here, 500 meters, 300 meters, we put a mark. Like that, they used to put a log Kashtha means a log actually. That is the ultimate limit of it. You cannot go beyond it. Sa kashtha, sa paragatihi. That is the supreme goal. That is the supreme goal and the last. But as I have been discussing and reminding you every day about that supreme goal, we have to remember that it is a transcendental goal. Before that, we are coming step by step by step. This is higher than this is subtler than this, C is subtler than B, A is, say, B is subtler than A. So B is the inner, it is the more pervading. Then C is subtler than B, so C is the inner. Like that we go in sequence. But that ends when we go beyond the objectude, beyond the duality of subject-object division. So that is the paragati, that is the supreme goal. So there it is that parakashta paragati, you cannot say that this is this in comparison to that, this is the last. Then that becomes again related by causality, as I have explained. The ultimate truth has to be beyond causality. So it is not in sequence. There you cannot think of any sequence because there is nothing to think. There is nobody to think. You have got merged in the transcendental consciousness. So there is nobody to say that you go beyond, or I have reached here, I have reached there. Nothing. There is no subject-object difference anymore. I will remind again, because this is what we forget when we read the Shastras. Now, this is a sequence, a model given. These are all models, but very useful models to be applied to reach the goal. Now, you will find there is a little difference in the model given in Bhagavad Gita, that is in Bhagavad Gita 3.42 and 43. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 42-43. There he says, Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jahishatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. It is in reply to Arjuna's question that how can we get rid of kama, which is everywhere so much powerful that it takes man like a whirlwind. So in reply to that, he is saying, finally you have to reach that oneness, that transcendental identity, so that you are no longer disturbed by, there is nothing second which can pull you or push you. There is no second at all. You have to reach that. So there also is a sequence given. I will explain. That sequence is a little different from here because Bhagavad Gita is more practical. It has done away with part of the model there, which Kathopanishad is giving. Bhagavad Gita is mostly based on Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad maximum and other Upanishads also. But many of the shlokas are absolutely same as Kathopanishad shlokas. And Kathopanishad is an earlier scripture. Bhagavad Gita came much, much later. So although it has taken from Kathopanishad, in some cases it has made it simpler for practice. So as he has found whatever to be more appropriate, he has kept it. But this model in Kathopanishad was the model which was being discussed at that time during Kathopanishad. And there is nothing wrong in it. We can go that way also. So when I explain the models, it will become clearer. What he is saying is that in Bhagavad Gita, he is saying Indriyani parani ahuhu. The Indriyas are said to be very powerful. All of us know that even if we don't want, we are always pulled by the Indriyas and getting into wrong things also. That is, they are extremely powerful. The Indriyas are extremely powerful. Bhagavad Gita starts with that. Indriyani paranyahuhu. Indriyebhyah param manaha. He is saying that, senses are very powerful, accepted. But don't think that our mind is slave to the senses. We have made the mind slave to the senses. Without the connection of the mind, without the support of the mind, the senses cannot do anything. When the mind is sleeping, the senses will not do anything. So, truly speaking, the mind is more powerful than the senses. This is from the practical point of view. From the tattva, the truth point of view, whatever is pervading another, suppose A is more pervasive, it is pervading B, then A is the causal and more subtle, and that is the more original essence. Suppose water, although our body is, we are seeing it's a solid of various kinds, but is not 95% of the body is water. It is pervading every cell of the body. And without the water, the body cannot survive. Similarly, air also, the oxygen is pervading every cell of the body. When water is percolating throughout the body in every cell, so water is subtler than the material particles of the body. And there the water is causal also. Without the water, the particles cannot sustain themselves. So water is subtler than the material particles, and it is in a way the essence of the material particles also. We call it Atma of that. That means it is the essence of that. More pervasive. Similarly, oxygen is pervading in water also, everywhere. So the oxygen is still subtler than that. And without that, even water will not be possible. So whatever is subtler, causal means which is the cause of the other things. Subtler, causal, that will be more pervasive and the more independent also. The dependency will be on the gross more. The gross will be dependent on the subtle always. So we are trying to reach the soul, which is the subtlest of everything. So what should be our procedure? We will move from the gross to the subtle. It is a simple thing. To reach the subtlest thing, actually subtlest means, when we say subtlest, you will again think in terms of objective subtlety. Is it not? That the gross, solid, the liquid is subtler than the solid, the gaseous is subtler than the liquid, plasma or the energy is subtler than the liquid. Energy is still subtler than liquid. Like that you will think. But at the last step, you have to go beyond that, because the soul is not objective. The soul is in which everything is appearing to be. Whether it is energy, whether it is space, whether it is time, all are concepts in the soul, concepts in the consciousness. So consciousness, soul is the most pervasive. Not only that, it is not an object which is pervasive. In the consciousness, the whole objective universe is appearing to be. So we call that as the Atma, that as the causal. Although it is not the cause in the material causality sense, because it is not the material. We have to be very attentive, and you have to think a lot to understand these truths. I may say, but it won't easily sink down unless you yourself contemplate on it, because these are very subtle truths. And you have to go. What the general method I can tell you, you can remember that and follow. That this karya karana, or the effect and cause. Cause is always at the origin. So we try to go from the effect to the cause. Then this cause in the effect of another cause. So we try to go to the subtler cause. So always we try to go from the karya to the karana to the further karana to the further karana. Means cause, further. Final level, we have to go to the karanatita. That is, transcend the karya karana also. Transcend the causality also. Initially, we apply the causality to go to a subtler cause. But at the final step, to go to the absolute truth, you have to transcend causality. The karya karana atita. That means you have to transcend the causality also. Because suppose you don't transcend and you reach a subtlest cause, naturally the question will be, then what has caused it? You reach another subtler thing. Then what has caused it? If you reach anything by the causality chain, the question never ends that how did the first thing come? You understand? So it is called infinite regression, as I said, or anavastha dosha. You can never reach the absolute by this logical causality. So our intelligence, buddhi, our rationality itself, if there is any absolute, it has to be beyond causality. It cannot be in the material range. Now, do we have any such thing? Yes, we have, because the whole analysis is regarding the objective universe, of which my body, mind, personality is also a part. From that, different from that, what do you have? The I in us, on which the whole universe is appearing to be. The entire objectude, subjectude, everything is appearing on that. So we reach the transcendental level like that. Now, this effect to cause, we can add two more steps there or remove one step there, it does not matter. The question is, you are reaching from the effect level to the cause, to the further subtler cause like this. And as we reach the causal, more causal thing will be more pervasive. Now, this you have to do in the interactional sadhana also, otherwise, you will never be able to improve. I have explained it many times. We call it the sadhana of bhava shuddhi. What is that? Suppose you are interacting with the world and you don't like some of your behavior, that you are hurting people or you are behaving egoistically or many things you are doing which you do not like. If you are a good person who wants to improve and attain, become something spiritual, then naturally you would like to improve from such habits of hurting people, being rough, being egoistic, etc. We try to do it, but we are not becoming successful. That is the report we get from everybody. That I thought that I will not behave like this. Again, next day I behave like this. And again I think that I will not, but again that behavior comes. So the fault lies not in the behavior, but in you, your buddhi. Why is that? Because the behavior is an effect. When you have behaved wrongly, and if you think I will not behave like that, you have not gone into the cause of that behavior. The cause is lying in you. So that cause will again produce the effect. And once the effect comes in, you are seeing it. So you have to look within to find out the cause. See, that is how we enter into the subtler levels. If the wrong behavior we want to correct, we have to look into our mind, because whatever behavior we are having, it is an expression of the thoughts. Is it not? Even to raise the hand also, we have to think that I will raise the hand and hand will be lifted. Except the natural functions of heart and lung and all, and the blood circulation. All other things, our mind is important there. When the mind thinks, according to the mind we are doing. So, you look into the thought that I must be hosting some egoistic thought, hurting thoughts, non-loving thoughts, selfish thoughts. You have to discover. They are all hiding in your mind. They are all very much in your mind. So those are the causes for the behavioral lacks, the behavioral non-niceties or behavioral mistakes. So you will never be able to correct the behavior unless you change your thought pattern, the thoughts. If you try to change the thoughts, you don't have access directly to that thought. You will find that sometimes I am able to correct, because the moment I am about to become angry, my mind goes in and I am thinking that I am becoming angry, so I should not express now. I start taking deep breath and all those techniques are there. But they will be successful only to a limited level, because you have spotted that your mind is becoming angry and thinking in a different manner which you do not like. So immediately you suppress it by taking some deep breaths or thinking of something else, thinking of Krishna or whatever you do, thinking of Shiva. So you suppress it. But it is not a full treatment given. To treat the thoughts, you have to go further down to the causal level, where from the thoughts are coming. Thoughts are actually radiations. Thoughts are segregated, thoughts are coming, but they are coming from your mindset. I will explain. Suppose you have a very liberal mindset. Will not always liberal thoughts will come to? Somebody is abusing you or misbehaving with you. A liberal mindset will say, oh, bacha hai, chhod do. Is it not? But the non-liberal mindset will immediately fight back. क्यों पता है हमें ऐसे? नहीं, हम सुनाएंगे, जरूर सुनाएंगे. क्यों नहीं बोलेंगे? हम क्यों ये सुनेंगे? यहाँ भी होती है. A liberal mind will say that he has a little difficult mind. She will behave like that. Let us leave it. What is there? Let us see. और बच्चा है, छोड़ दो. कुछ भी बोलो, बच्चा है, छोड़ दो is a little considering yourself to be higher. But you can simply consider that हम भी ऐसा करते हैं, दूसरे जगह वो भी कर रहे हैं, अभी क्या है उसमें इतना, उसके why should I react like this? So a liberal mindset will automatically radiate liberal thoughts. A loving mindset will automatically radiate always love for others. A selfish mindset will always look for selfish gains. यहाँ से क्या प्राप्त हो सकता है, वहाँ से क्या गेन हो सकता है, हमेशा वो मन में सेल्फिश थॉट्स ही रहेगा. So it is to do with our mindset, that is the inherent quality of the mind. Until we are able to change this quality of the mind, this mindset, which is called bhava in Sanskrit, this is called the bhava, the emotional constitution of the mind, the qualities, qualitative mind. Unless we are able to change this mindset, our thoughts will not be changed. And unless we are able to change the thoughts, our behavior will not be changed. It will change, but in a minor manner, by external suppression it will change. The treatment, proper internal treatment, will not be had. So this is how go to the causal level. Now what is the treatment we apply? We are always reading about, discussing about the soul, which is the universal identity, which is always, that generates love for everybody without any, somebody loves you, you love him. It is not like that. Whether the person loves you or he is an enemy, the love will be equally for them. That doesn't mean that you will host the criminal also at your home, but you will have love for them also. You will not hate anybody. So, considering the soul which remains unaffected by anything happening in the world, anybody saying anything, dukkha, sukha, everywhere the soul only reveals. So more and more we read about the soul, think about the soul, contemplate on the soul, what will happen to our mind? Will it not become like the soul? It's very simple. It is just a technique. It is technologically sound. Because we are constantly engaging the mind in selfish interactions, in egoistic interactions with the fragmented world, the mind is becoming fragmented. Now you take the fragmented mind and start interacting with the unified soul, unaffected soul, untainted soul, loving soul, compassionate soul. The mind becomes like that. Automatically it picks up those qualities. Whether soul exists or not, it doesn't matter. The mind will become like the conceptual soul. Is it not so? So, it all depends on us in what level we are applying the treatment. And there we have to go to the absolute, that ultimate level, and the treatment applied there will change everything. So you cannot say that these are only meant for the jnana margis and they will be able to do meditation and all. The fact is that anybody who wants to improve and reach this level will have to practice it. And it is not only a meditational practice, this will be an interactive practice also, because the interactions will point out what are the defects in your within. So you will, while interacting, you are seeing your mind. So the whole focus is changing from the external focus to an internal focus. That has to take place during the interactive period also. And the interactions will help you to change your mindset. So it is not just a meditational process. This causal level we have to reach while interacting with people also. And by practice, it will become very easy. We don't have to always read and think and meditate, but if you practice a few times, you will find that that is becoming your habit, to always automatically develop a very broad mindset, liberal mindset, loving mindset. And you get the joy of it, because the joy is there in having a very expanded, loving, compassionate, unaffected mindset. Joy is never in having a very blaming, criticizing, critical, selfish mindset. The mind remains under strain. We are suffering from the stress because of this. But because of habit, we are not able to get rid of the stresses. But if you make the mind like this, automatically you will find that I have no stress at all. You will be so happy with your mind. So the moment you start becoming happy with your mind, then nobody will have to tell you that you practice it. Automatically that attraction of having a very delightful mindset will pull you on the path. Nobody will have to drag you on the path. You won't say that, oh, spirituality, it is difficult. Because you don't want to do, you say difficult. It is not at all difficult. It is the most comfortable and most soothing practice. Because you will love it so much, you will like it so much that you will not be able to leave it once you do it and see the result. That is why Bhagavad Gita says, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you practice a little of this, then it will relieve you of the greatest fear. Bhagavatam says, Swadu swadu pade pade. That is, every step it will become, or swadu swadu dine dine. Every day, every step it will become tastier and tastier, because it will become easy and you will find so much of joy in it that within your embrace you will find the whole world. Which race he belongs to, you won't bother about. Whether he is a good person or bad person also doesn't matter. Everybody will be within your loving embrace. So, here also we are in this model, we are trying to go from the gross level to the subtler level, which is the causal level, and which is the Atma of the grosser. Atma means from where it has been born. That is the causal level. Indriyebhyah parahyartha arthebhyascha param manah manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha. Artha means the objects, but artha can be of two kinds. That it can be the gross objects or it can be the subtle objects also. Now, when we say object, in our chemistry or science, the elements, number of elements, or now say in physics, number of elementary particles, the number can go on changing. You can have 4, you can have 56, depends on, as the research progresses, it is changing. Finally, we can have 1 also. We may land up with single also by the unified field theory and all. Now, in spiritual, this is a very fundamental point I am making. If you keep it in mind, then it will help you in understanding all the scriptures. In spirituality, it is a subjective science. That is, we have already inquired in the world and found that in the world there is no way of finding two things. One is the ultimate truth, because it will be causality going to any level, that infinite regression. And also there is no way of finding peace and final fulfillment. These two discoveries they made, that going after the external world, on the theoretical side, on the philosophical side, we can never reach the truth, the ultimate truth. And on the spiritual side, we can never reach the goal of our life, which is fulfillment, which is always remaining joyous. The abhava bodha, the insufficiency, is never going to end. We look for happiness always because there is an abhava bodha, there is an insufficiency in us right from birth. We are born with that insufficiency, and that is why we are looking to fulfill that, to fill that gap. So they understood that running after wealth or anything, emperorship or anything in the world, we are not going to reach the final fulfillment at all, because the lack of fulfillment comes from desires. And until the desires are eliminated by any method you will like, the fulfillment is never going to come. This is one great discovery. The other discovery is the philosophical part, that the external world is never going to give us the ultimate truth. It's not possible even logically. So they started looking within. Why did they started looking within? Because the whole perception of the external world, they found, is depending on me, the perceiver. Unless the world appears in my mind, I will not know the world at all. Whether the world exists or not is different. But the fact is that I am interacting with the world which is appearing in my mind. Is it not? Until it appears in my consciousness, in my mind, I will not be able to interact. And in that, we have got 5 senses. So actually, the world for us is made of 5 coordinates, you can say. Like the space coordinate, time coordinate, the world for us is made of 5 coordinates. What are the 5 coordinates? The 5 sense perceptions. Without those five sense perceptions, we don't have any world. Suppose our body evolves to a level where we develop seven senses, one for the electrical, another for the magnetic or something, say, then the whole model will change. We have to consider that the world consists of seven elements. So, this Panchabhuta concept in our spirituality, in our spiritual literature, it is widely misunderstood. Widely misunderstood and misinterpreted, and people are poo-pooed because of that. They say that where is the question of Panchabhuta? We have so many elementary particles, this and that. Our Panchabhuta concept is not going to, model is never going to change until our body undergoes a change. This Panchabhuta is based on the subjective model of our perception. The whole world you can analyze in terms of this five sense perception. There is no other perception there. Are you able to understand? So that is why we have said Panchabhuta. For a blind person, it will be Chaturbhuta, because the vision will not be there for him. But generally, we have five indriyas, so the world is Panchabhutas. Now, this is our model. Now, we will go to still subtler level. In this Panchabhuta model also, we have to analyze that the whole world, it is our body is created, and according to the body, we are sensing the world. So even the five sense organs, they are actually an offshoot of the five subtle bhutas or elements or arthas, who are creating our indriyas particularly to get them sensed. That is, eyes, it cannot hear anything. The ears, they cannot see anything. So it is the subtle element of vision, or you can say, perhaps in this case, the Agni. In the Panchabhuta concept, it is the Agni. That is the subtle element which has given rise to our eyes. Similarly, the element of sound or space, that is the Akasha, which has the property as sound. That subtle Akasha has given rise to our Shravanendriya. The outer indriyas we are seeing, they are called Sthula Indriya. They are all gross sense organs. They are not the real sense organs. The subtle sense organs you can compare almost with our cortices in the brain, but that is also sthula. The sense organs are when the senses are the sense perceptions are appearing in the mind. They are the real sense organs. So the five subtle elements, that Kshiti, Ap, Tejas, Marut, Vyoma, these are the five elements. They have created the five sense organs, the subtle organs in us. And with that, we are perceiving the five-fold world. This we must understand very well. So, since they have created the indriyas, are they not subtler than the indriyas? Here, Artha is referring to those subtle elements. That is why they have said that indriyebhya para hi artha. Now, this artha part is not there in the Bhagavad Gita model. They have started with indriyani paranyahu. Indriyas are very powerful. They have not spoken about the objects at all. They start from there. Now here he is saying that the subtle elements which have given rise to the sense organs, they are subtler than the sthula, our sense organs. But further subtle is arthebhyascha param manaha. Why? Suppose when in our mind, in the dream or otherwise also, are we not creating all the perceptions there? In a dream, you have everything, but the senses are not functioning. But the inner, all the senses are created by the mind. So, all the five perceptions which are taking place, they are all hosted by the mind. Their cause is the mind. So, mind is subtler than them also. Not only that, they are actually made of the mind. So, the mind is the causal level, is the Atma for the indriyas, you can say. It is at the further causal level. Similarly, in the mind, so mind, it has become actually one now. It is all made of mind, means in the consciousness, all, whether it is appearing red, blue, good, bad, loud, or mridu, whatever, all the world variations, they are all formations in the mind. Is it not? They're all made of the mind. Sukha, dukkha. Dukkha is also in the mind, sukha is also in the mind. But our focus is on the external situation, so we are not able to bear the suffering. We are very elated when there is happiness. But when your focus goes within to that mental level that you find like this, you will be so graceful in sukha as well as dukkha that your mind will be filled with a placidity, prasada. Ragadvesha viyukta istu vishayan indriyashcharan atmavashair vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. When the ragadvesha goes, the mind attains that placidity where everything can be taken in the same manner. In dukkha, you will shed tears, but it will give you a deep joy. We call it joy or ananda or whatever. In sukha, you will smile, but that will not, you will never be elated, but that will also give you a very placid joy. So in sukha, in dukkha, always you will have the joy. If you contradict it, I will say that think of the films. When you see a tragic film, you are shedding tears, but you enjoy. Otherwise, why should you pay money and go and see the film? To have the enjoyment. It is also an enjoyment when you are seeing the film. And what is happening? You are seeing some scene of great suffering, but you are shedding. You are completely involved in that. You are sympathizing with that. You are completely involving yourself with that. And you are responding with shedding tears. But you never howl or cry that why me, because it is not related to you. The same thing happening in your family, you will not be able to enjoy it. Is it not? Then you will start howling that why God it is for me, why not for others? We are like that also. So, in mind, that mind is the causal, and there all these senses are originating there. So, indriyebhya parahi artha, arthebhyascha param manaha. Manasastu para buddhihi. He is saying that the intelligence is even superior to the mind. Now, we may say from the practical point of view, the intelligence is guiding the mind, so it is superior. That is a practical part of it. On the other sense, the buddhi is actually bodhayati iti buddhi. Wherever the bodha is there, that revelation or understanding is taking place. That is called the buddhi. We often call it, the fundamental of it, we call it bodhi, prajna, etc. So the mind will not respond to anything unless it is understood. Whatever is shown by the mind, the situation created in the mind, all the situations, the external situation, they are finally created in the mind. Now don't think of the external anymore. You have gone into the mind. Are you coming with me? We have gone into the mind now. Now, whatever situation the mind has created, if it is not revealed by the buddhi, that if it is not understood in the buddhi level, then you will not be able to respond to it. The buddhi is the cause for our bodha, our understanding of the situation. Now, generally, intelligence we mean wherever we are putting an effort in the intelligence, that is analyzing things and understanding. But this understanding part, analysis part may be an effortful intelligence. But the understanding takes place in the very foundation. Even without effort, the understanding will be there. That I am, this understanding is taking place in the bodhi, in our buddhi. There is no effort involved. It is a natural reflection in the buddhi. Artificial intelligence, we talk about intelligence. But there what we are dealing with, if anybody is there from computer science, you may understand. It is the effortful intelligence we talk about. The computer can be much more intelligent than us in performing so many things. But the poor fellow does not understand what he is doing. Am I right? He doesn't understand because he does not have this buddhi. This is in our shastras, that is called the buddhi, which makes you understand. When that is gone, you will be like dead. You will not be able to understand anything at all. The bodha will not be there. However much you may improve the computer, it will do great jobs. But it does not know. Whatever you have made able for, it does it. And it doesn't know that it doesn't have happiness or dukkha also. Now, if you can develop a computer with some living cells and all, so that it develops this buddhi which our body has, then one day it will become like living beings. with the intelligence. It is possible, it is there. You can try for it. But it has to be with the, most probably it cannot be done with just the material cells. You have to use the biological cells. The biological cells, by using that you can generate buddhi. If you generate the buddhi, then you have created, even cloning is like that. Somehow you are making another body which has the buddhi also. That is from the biological cells you are generating. So that is called the buddhi, the intelligence, where the bodha takes place. So that is certainly higher than the mind. So I have explained in both ways that practically, because the buddhi is leading the mind, it is superior. But on the other hand, it is causal. It is fundamental. Without the bodha, the mind cannot function. So it is causal level. That is the Atma of the mind, Buddha. Now they are going to further subtler level. Well, buddhi, we are thinking that it is only in the individual level of buddhi. We call it Veshti buddhi. That means individual buddhi. That is depending on our body-mind complex. Now, we are taking our mind to that this body-mind complex is also a small speck in the external universe. And the whole thing is coming in the universe containing my body-mind complex is also appearing in our mind and buddhi. So we cannot limit it to individual level. We have to go to the cosmic level. So here in spirituality, that cosmic intelligence is called Mahat Tattva. That cosmic intelligence is called Mahat Tattva. It is called Manasastu para buddhi buddhera atma mahan paraha. That for the buddhi also, the cause and the subtler level is the cosmic intelligence which has given rise to the buddhi in the individual personality. These are great things. I don't know how far you are able to. If you can understand it deeply, you will feel immediately you have got liberated. So this is the process one has to take. Will not the selfishness go? When you extend yourself to that cosmic intelligence level, automatically no selfishness will be able to affect you anymore. So this way also the purification is resulted, not by sleeping in the name of meditation. The other day somebody was asking, will not meditation generate purity? Yes, if you do it with the idea of developing purity, meditation will certainly give you purity. But if you just sleep in the name of meditation or some mantra and so and thinking that the thoughts have stopped, nothing will happen from meditation. It's a farce. So, Buddhehe Atma Mahan Paraha. This is the cosmic intelligence which is called the Mahat Tattva. Actually, this Mahat Tattva is called Hiranyagarbha also. I am going into the philosophical depth also. Whenever the consciousness part is attached to that, that means the consciousness is called Purushaha. Purushaha can be, I have said, two kinds. One is Purishayateti Purushaha. That is the consciousness in us. That Purushaha, that identifies itself with our small body, body-mind personality. So it becomes with the body-mind personality, which is part of the Prakriti, part of nature. Body-mind complex, including Buddhi, is part of Prakriti, nature. It is a product of nature. When the consciousness identifies itself with the body-mind personality, which is a part of the Prakriti, then it takes the form of a Purusha as for us. Now, similarly, we are conceiving of a consciousness which is identifying itself with the cosmic intelligence, the cosmic creation. That is called the Brahma. Brahma is explained with 4 hands and all in our... Because nobody is going to understand. Who will understand this? For the mass, we have given a simple model of Brahma. It is just next to Brahma. Then it becomes Brahma. That is the initial, the first of creation. That is the cosmic intelligence from which the whole creation is coming down. So when the Purusha is identifying, in Sanskrit we say, when the Purusha does ahankara in Prakriti, it becomes the Hiranyagarbha or Brahma. It's not all fiction. It is not all foolish things. Great meaning is there. We have to think, we have to go deep into it. When the Purusha, the universal consciousness, the transcendental consciousness, before it has become, it has not produced anything. The creation is not there. When it starts projecting the creation, and it has to identify with the creation, with the material of the Prakriti. Actually, there is no material at all, or the material, whatever it is made of knowledge, made of consciousness only. So when it identifies itself with the cosmic intelligence, then we call it Hiranyagarbha or Brahma. Or Mahat Tattva also is used for it. Mahat Tattva is often called the Hiranyagarbha also. We have to understand that there the Purusha is included, identified with it. Now, in the next verse he says, Mahatah Param Avyaktam. Now, where from this first the creation is coming, that cosmic intelligence is coming, that is something positive has come. So we cannot, before that there was nothing. Now how can nothingness, from nothingness something come? So still we are trying to applying the causality. Further we will not. We have to drop causality at that point. Up to this we are applying causality, thinking that avyakta, that is unmanifest. From the unmanifest, the manifest is coming. And from the manifest, when the dissolution of the universe, during the dissolution of the universe, the manifest is again going into the unmanifest form. So manifest and unmanifest, they together form a duality. Vyakta and avyakta, they are duality. When it is vyakta, we call it prakriti. And when it is avyakta, we call it para prakriti or maya. That yesterday also people were asking maya. This is called the maya. Maya, the word means which is not there. This is a conceptual avyakta prakriti, which is called maya. If you want to know what is the darkness, normally you see, suppose there is darkness, you want to see the book. You throw the light on the book, you see the book there. Is it not so? You throw the light on the table gets revealed. Now you say that I want to see what is that darkness, and you throw the light there to discover the darkness. There won't be no darkness. Like that is maya. Oh, I want to know what is maya, what is maya. You try. When you throw the knowledge there, you know what is the truth. And if you don't throw the knowledge, you are in ignorance. You cannot discover that this is ignorance. This is the maya. Maya word means maya, means what is not. There is nothing called maya, but it is the atasmin tad buddhi, that things are appearing what they are not. That is called maya. So we can only throw knowledge about our own identity so that the truth becomes clear. You can never see, never discover maya. But to know that, you have to go up to this through the karya karana level. By the causality, you have reached up to this. And for that, you have to deal with your prakriti, with your mind, with everything. That is why in our religious level, we have Mahakali dancing on what? Shiva lying there. This Mahakali's dancing is the dance of the universe. Nataraja's dance also is dance of the universe. In this case, Mahakali's dance is the dance of the universe. But the whole dance is taking place on Shiva. Without consciousness, it cannot happen. Mahakali represents the Prakriti. And to reach that Shiva level, you have to please Kali. Otherwise, she will not allow you. Shiva will remain dead there. To make Shiva alive in us, we have to first please Kali. अरे उनके ऊपर से तो उतर जाओ थोड़ा, हम उनसे थोड़ा मिले. वो जब प्रसन्न हो जाती है तो आपको छोड़ देंगे. जाओ शिव से है मिलो, गले मिलो शिव से. So Shiva is our own Atma. Mahatah Paramavyaktam Avyaktat Purushah Paraha Purushanna Param Kinchit Sakashtha Sa Paragatihi. So this last line I have already explained, that Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing beyond this Purusha. Sa kashtha, sa paragati. That is the ultimate and that is the supreme goal. Now here it is not a comparison that up to this 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles and this is the end. No, it is no more objective there. Up to the Mahat level is objective creation, and in contradiction to the Vyakta, Avyakta Maya. That is all. Even Maya is Anadi, it is not under space time. It is just the process of projecting the universe in the Vivatta Srishti, that means non material creation. The whole creation is non material. In material creation, the cause undergoes a change when the effect is produced. As the sun is radiating, the hydrogen is getting converted into helium. There is always, without a change in the cause, you cannot have an effect in material creation. In this case, the creation just appears in the consciousness. There is no change in the consciousness at all. So, otherwise, if the consciousness had undergone change, then there was no question of knowing the soul at all. You would have known only the world. Because the consciousness remains the consciousness, there is a way of knowing it also. That is why this Rajju Sarpa, it is oft quoted example in various cases. But I appreciate it only in one sense, if you can understand it. That when Rajju Sarpa example, you know, in dusk you are seeing a snake. Actually, it is a rope lying there. Now you are getting scared, you are reacting to that. And the fear will be there as long as you do not discover that that is a rope. By the discovery of the rope, the fear goes. So you never discovered the snake. The snake is non-existing there. Just like Maya here, the snake is the Maya. By discovering the truth of the rope, the snake has disappeared. Not only that, this is one point, that just by discovering the truth, the falsehood, the Maya has disappeared. This is the truth of Maya. The other part of it is that when you were seeing the snake also, did the rope undergo any change? The rope remained the rope. So it is not a causal srishti. You understand? It is not a cause and effect chain. It remains, the rope remains the rope, and you are seeing a snake. Like that, when the world is seen also, we are interacting with the world, the consciousness remains the consciousness. There is no causality, nothing. The whole world is projected. It is dissolved also. As it happens in our sleep and when we are getting up, it is in the consciousness, it is coming up. In the consciousness, it is dissolving. So, when we go beyond this duality of Vyakta and Avyakta, that is manifest and unmanifest, then we reach this Purusha level, that means the consciousness level. It is beyond all duality. The duality of subject-object also will not be there. Before that, I am thinking of the Mahat Tattva, and I am becoming in the process the universal, the cosmic intelligence. But still I is there. But in this level, you have transcended that subject-object part. There is no question of I. That I has got merged in the universal consciousness, the Purusha. There the Purusha is not Purishete iti Purusha. Purnam anena sarvam iti Purusha. That is by whom everything else, because the whole Prakriti is appearing in that consciousness. So is he not pervading everywhere? He is not pervading in the material sense. The whole material is an appearance in that. So that is the Purusha. He says, Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing beyond that Purusha. Sa kashtha, sa paragati. That is the ultimate. That is the ultimate consciousness. In various places it is described in various manner. As in Bhagavad Gita is said, Indriyani paranyahu, indriyebhya param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi, yo buddhehe paratastu saha. See how cleverly he has put there. He has not gone into the Mahat Tattva, Abhyakta, anything. He said that in your buddhi, you go beyond, and what is beyond buddhi is the Purusha. Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. That is the truth. But in going, you can think of the cosmic intelligence also. You need not think. You can think in terms of if you can go beyond the duality like that, it is fine. Evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyam atmanam atmana. Knowing this which is transcending even the intelligence, the bodha, the intelligence. And there fixing your whole mind, intelligence, everything on that. Samstabhyam atmanam atmana, becoming absolutely effortless. Yahi shatrum mahavaho kamarupam durasadam. In Shvetashvatara, that's a little different poetic expression. They are saying, न तस्य कार्यं करणं च विद्यते न तत्समश्चाभ्यधिकश्च दृश्यते परास्य शक्तिर्विविधैव श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रिया च य एतत् विदुरमृतास्ते भवन्ति य एतत् विदुः amritaste bhavanti. He says, ya etad viduhu amritaste bhavanti. Those, it is not singular, plural. Those who know this, like this. Know means not knowing as a differential. It is an aparoksha knowledge. By becoming that, knowing by becoming that, they become immortal. What is that? Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. There is no causality at all. He is not doing anything. The whole universe is appearing on this, but he is not doing anything at all. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. He doesn't have the limbs to do also. Nothing is there with which he can do. Because the whole thing is tasya jnanamayam tapaha. The whole thing is appearing in the knowledge. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natat samascha abhyadikascha abhyadikascha drishyate. Nothing is there equal to him or beyond him. Sakashta sa paragatihi. Nothing beyond that. Parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate. Asya parashaktihi vividhaiva shruyate. It is his nature, parashaktihi, paraprakriti. The whole power we are seeing. What is the tremendous amount of energy in the galaxies getting born, galaxies dying, dissolving. We cannot even imagine the kind of energy involved. But this, all the display of the energy is taking place only in the consciousness, in our eye, which we consider to be chota hai, dukhi hai, depressed hai. It is that eye which is displaying the whole universal play. But there is no desire. Nowhere it is desire motivated activity. Only human beings are having created that fictitious desire. Nothing is motivated by desire. Then it would have not run in this harmony for millions of years like this. Swabhaviki jnana balakriyacha. He is saying, it is not desire motivated, it is swabhaviki. It is spontaneous, natural. It is called jnana balakriya. The whole power that is seen, the energy that is seen, it is only in the knowledge, in the level of knowledge. Knowledge means the consciousness here, the advaya knowledge. Jnana balakriya. It is the kriya which you are seeing. When we do something with desire motivation, we call it karma. So we say, he does not have any karma, but the whole kriya is taking place in him. If it is desire, not desire motivated, we call it kriya. For a knower, he may do 10 times the work of the ordinary person, but there is no karma for him. He doesn't think that I am the doer of this. हमने ये किया है, वो किया है, वो नहीं कर पाया है, और ये करने वाले हैं. कुछ नहीं है. करते जाते हैं. That is called kriya. So for him there is no karma at all, no akarma, vikarma, karma, nothing. Everything has got merged in the kriya for him. Swabhaviki kriya. That is why for him it is sahaja samadhi. Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhaya. He is active in that itself is his samadhi. He doesn't have to sit quietly to get into a nischala samadhi or anything. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natat samascha abhyadikascha drishyate natat samaha cha abhyadikascha drishyate. Asya parashaktir, parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate, swabhaviki jnana balakriyaja. Ya etad viduhu amritaste bhavanti. This is from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. जो इसको जान सकते हैं वो अमृत बन जाते हैं. In Ramakrishna's example, he has said that this going down, actually it is like a nunar putul, that is a doll made of salt. He wanted to measure the depth of the sea. So when he went into the sea, what happened? It got merged into the sea. This is that sa kashtha sa paragati. When we reach that, there is no causality, nothing. You get completely merged into that. Kathopanishad says, Yathodakam shuddhe shuddham asiktam tadrigeva bhavati evam muner vijanata atma bhavati Gautama. वो गौतमा, वो नचिकेता, ही बिलोंग टू द गौतमा वंश. हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे गौतम हैं. आपको सोचना चाहिए कि हम नचिकेता के वंशधर हैं. उसके जैसा बिहेव करना है. नचिकेता में एक भी द्वेषभाव नहीं था, किसी से झगड़ता नहीं था. जो पिताजी उनको कर्ज की कि बेटा तुमको हम यमराजा को देंगे, वो यमराजा के पास जाके बोल रहा है कि हमारे पिताजी का गुस्सा दूर कर दीजिए. वो जैसे खुश रहे हैं हमेशा. सोचिए कैसा बच्चा था. तो ऑल गौतम शुड ट्राई टू बिकम लाइक दैट. दे आर ऑल इन द लीनिएज ऑफ नचिकेता. ही सेज, ओ गौतमा, यथोदकम यथा उदकम शुद्धे शुद्धम आसिक्तम तादृगेव भवति. There is pure water in a lake, and you have taken a pure water in a jug and you are pouring into the lake. What happens? Will you be able to find out where the water has gone? It simply gets merged in that. Vijanatah munehe atma evam bhavati. Oh Gautama, oh Nachiketa. A knower's atma, this is what happens. When he discovers that sakashtha sa paragati, when he discovers that supreme, his atma, small atma, gets merged in the supreme. This is what takes place. वो आप ये कृष्णा वाला दिखाइए. See, this is just to give you, because the visuals will remain with us more, I tried to make it, to give a little visual representation that our understanding, which I have been trying to explain all these days, what is our perception. So, Krishna is in Vrindavana and his calves, you can see the beautiful expressions they have. The calves came one day and reported to him that I have heard that there is a Narayanashrama Tapavanam in down south Kerala where Swami Bhumananda Tirtha is explaining all these things. Why don't we go there and see? Krishna says, I can go. The moment I will there, I will reach there. But how can I take you? So anyway, the calf said that, okay Krishna, you go. You come back and tell us what has happened. So Krishna goes to Narayanashrama Tapavanam. Then he enters. Next. Looking at the ashrama, he is thinking that what I am seeing, is it outside or is it what I am seeing is actually in my mind? Actually the ashrama is in my mind. That is what I am seeing now. Well, is it so or is it still farther? He goes farther one step. That I am standing in front of the ashrama and seeing the ashrama in my mind, that itself is in my mind. See how the cosmic intelligence is coming in. From the individual mind to the cosmic mind it is coming. Are you able to understand this? That Krishna, my body-mind personality is also a product of nature, just like the building. So I am thinking of the building in my mind, but my body-mind personality looking at ashrama is also in my mind. The whole thing is happening in my mind. So I have put this cloudy thing. That is, the whole impression is in the mind. So if it is so, then what about the whole universe? So the whole universe is appearing in my mind, who am a part of the universe. I am a small speck in the universe in which, and it is not true of only me, but for everybody here. So what is the conclusion? Next. Universe, a state of consciousness. समझ में आया? याद रहेगा? अभी याद रहेगा थोड़ा ना. We'll go to the next verse. We will repeat these two verses. Now here what you have to remember is that to go back to the origin. Origin is our soul, which is not limited by the body, mind, personality. The universal, the whole universe is appearing in that soul. To go to that consciousness level, we are starting from our objective perception. From there, we are going to the inward part, to the indriyas, to the mind, to the buddhi, then the cosmic intelligence. From there, we are going to the unmanifest. Manifest, unmanifest creates duality. We are going farther, where there is no gradation, nothing, no more in the objective level, no more in the prakriti level. We are surpassing the prakriti and we are merging into the consciousness. That is the sakashtha saparagati. These are the two verses. Next verse. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu
एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु
गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते
गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते
दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्ध्या
दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्ध्या
सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु
एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु
गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते
गूढोत्मान प्रकाशते
दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्ध्या
दृश्यते त्वग्रया बुद्ध्या
सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः.
So he is saying that if this is the sequence and this is the way to reach, how do we reach it? People may have all kinds of misconception because they are not able to get over this outgoing tendency. That even when we have to know the self, we think that one day in meditation or otherwise, suddenly the self will arise and I will know that this is the self. It cannot be. The self is not an object. To point out that he is saying, Eshaha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhaha atma na prakashate. This is the source, not source but substratum. By moment we say source means it is giving rise to the effect, cause and effect chain. But there is no causality here. This is the substratum of everything. Sarveshu bhuteshu. It is there in all the appearances, all the objects, all the beings, everywhere. It is there. Actually not it is there. The beings are appearing in this. We can go to that extent also. It is further. That is not that it is inside the beings. It is inside, but all the beings are appearing in it. But to find it out, we have to look within us. We cannot find it anywhere else. So we say it is within us. So sarveshu bhuteshu gudhaha. This Atma is hiding. Gudhaha. It is very secret. It is hiding there. Na prakashate. That is why we are not able to see. The other day, Dipali asked that why then the consciousness is not knowing itself. It is so big, so great. It is the greatest thing. It should be able to know itself also and remember itself. But the remembrance, knowing, it is all the function of our buddhi. And we have jam-packed our buddhi with all chota things. So he is not able to appear. Rabindranath says that a person is waiting for God to appear. He is every day calling God to appear. But he says that, well, God, when you enter my house, see that there are many curios in my drawing room. Nothing should get toppled by your touch. The curios are in our mind. So we want God to enter without losing any of the desires and greed and whatever we have kept the preconceived ideas in our mind. The God has to appear with all that. It cannot appear because we have jam-packed our mind with all chota thing. How can the transcendental thing appear there. So it is not the consciousness's job, it is the job of our mind and buddhi. Gudhaha, it is secret because of that. Na prakashate, it doesn't appear. Actually, it is prakashate in everything. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam vindate. It is every perception, it is there. As I said just now, the picture also. Everything is appearing in that consciousness. We are missing the revealer of the objects because our focus is on the what is revealed. Our focus is always on the small things which are revealed by the consciousness. So we are missing the revealer consciousness. Actually, it is prakashate. That alone is manifest everywhere. There is nothing else. Not only it prakashate, it is everywhere. And that alone is there. Nothing else is there. All others are fictions on it. But we are not able to see. That is our point. Na prakashate. Then how do we see? This is very important. Drishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. Drishyate, it is seen. By whom? Sukshmadarshibhi, those who sees the subtle things. Now here again, when you say sees means, we will think that it is with the eye. Suddenly one day God will appear before me with like 1,000 suns blazing forth and all that. Those are all experiences, nothing to do with the reality. Gudhaha atmana prakashate drishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi. Agriya means, that means the buddhi. First of all, the most important point is buddhya, buddhaya or buddhya. What is there? Drishyate tu agraya buddhya. It should not be buddhaya, then the meter is going. It should be buddhi. By the buddhi. That means it is not to be perceived by the any of the senses at all. The perception is by the buddhi. In Bhagavad Gita, it is called ikshana. Ikshana is a vision of the buddhi. Not the ordinary understanding. It has to become a natural shining in the buddhi. That is called ikshana. Bhagavad Gita says that Sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavam avyayam ikshate abhibhaktam vibhakteshu tad jnanam viddhi satvikam. What is the satvika knowledge? Sarva bhuteshu, in everything that we see or perceive. Yena ekam avyayam bhavam ikshate. Ekam avyayam, only one, and avyayam means unchanging. In this material world, there is nothing unchanging. Everything will be changeful. The whole material universe, everything is changeful. Avyaya is only the consciousness which is beyond the material universe, which is the revealer of the material universe. So one who sees this avyaya eka bhava in everything, avibhaktam vibhakteshu, this is not fragmented by all the fragmented appearances of the world. It never gets fragmented by that. Tajnanam viddhi satvikam. The sattvika knowledge will be able to see that. So it is a sattvika transformation of the buddhi. So sukshma buddhi does not mean the scientist subtle buddhi of sharp buddhi. Yes, it is partly there, but not fully. Because unless the buddhi is shuddha buddhi, unless the buddhi is sattvika buddhi, he will not, in a scientist also will not be able to see it, will not be able to have this inner vision. Ikshana, ikshate, the word is used there. So it is not an intelligential analytical buddhi. Well, intelligential analytical as we are doing, it is all necessary to make our mind one pointed towards that, to get rid of all the impurities of the mind. But finally, it has to shine in the buddhi naturally. That is the difference between realization and intellectual understanding. In intellectual understanding, you have to every time think of the soul, what I have studied, and then understand it. But by all sorts of analysis, finally, as the buddhi becomes shuddha, becomes pure, then what happens? The truth shines in it spontaneously, naturally. Then we call it realization. So actually, it is sukshma buddhi means shuddha buddhi. Shuddha buddhi means the buddhi which is freed of raga dvesha again. Just as in the chariot example we found, that Shuchitva means the mind is free of ragadvesha. When the mind is free of ragadvesha, then it is no longer slave to the external situations. It remains always anchored to our soul, our real identity. So always for him the buddhi will be viveka buddhi. That is the Shuddha buddhi.